All right, so you want to know what it's like to move to Colorado Springs in 2024. Well, we're going to tell you from our Facebook group when we asked locals if they were going to talk to a friend. This is how I phrased it. I'll screenshot it here. I said, if your friend was thinking of moving here in 2024, what was the reason you would tell them to move here? What is something you love about living in Colorado Springs? So we're going to get it directly from locals here in Colorado Springs via Facebook group.
Hey guys, it's Kayleen and Lori here with Colorado Springs. What's going on here in Colorado Springs beginning of the year 2024?
I know, I can't believe it.
So we have a new promotion coming out. It's a big green box promotion.
Oh, yeah.
So if you buy or sell a home with us in the year 2024, we have 6 different luxury items that you can choose from as your closing gift. Anything from a Louis Vuitton bag to a big green egg, barbecue smoker. We have 6 different gifts that are fantastic. So
9 months of house cleaning, which who doesn't want their house cleaned?
That would be amazing. So if you're thinking of making the move, maybe you've been watching these videos. We get a lot of that. We've been watching you guys for several years, but go ahead, reach out to us, make contact. There is a phone number down below. Just send us a text. Let us know that you are thinking of making that move. Lori and I have helped literally hundreds of families over the last couple of years make that move. We love what we do, so would love to talk to you. So without further ado, we want to, so our on the streets of videos that we have done so well that we wanted to do the same sort of thing. Instead of from our mouths, hear it from people from our local Facebook group of over 42,000 people.
So we'll put that link below, but I screenshot some of their answers and we're gonna read to you and kind of discuss why people are moving here in 2024. We've done videos on why not to move to Colorado Springs, but we're doing why too, because obviously we love living here. All right, so we're gonna switch off. Oh, hang on, technical problems. I'm back. Okay, so Kaylee's gonna read the first one.
Have some different perspectives. So this one is from Mello, and her response was, the climate. We moved here from humid swamp butt North Carolina. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. My daughter had so many skin and allergy issues living out there. As soon as we could retire from my job, we packed up and moved to Colorado. It has been amazing. In North Carolina, I couldn't get her to go outside, but here I can't get her to come back inside. So definitely a pro.
The climate, and I will just expand upon that a little bit. I will say that we have, since we deal with hundreds of families that moving here each year, it does depend upon their perspective. We've had some clients move here and not expect 4 seasons. As you can see, I'm bundled up here. I have on a winter coat, a hat. I don't have gloves on, but my hands are cold. It is end of January.
You get the 4 seasons for sure.
It's supposed to, we had a snow yesterday, and actually I was watching the weather.
It was frigid cold the last 2 days.
I was watching the weather yesterday, and this weekend it's supposed to be -20 below, and they called it a vortex. And I'm like, anytime you're using the word vortex in weather, it's not good. So I was just a little concerned. So it does get cold here, but we have the most sun I've ever seen. I'm from Minnesota. The snow melts, so we had a snow day yesterday. The snow's almost gone.
With the sun so intense here in Colorado and no humidity, it just feels warmer than if you were like my daughter in North Carolina says, oh, it's 30 degrees, it's freezing, but that humidity plays a huge
cold
factor.
Okay, my next one.
Okay,
This is mine, Mellow. We already did Mellow. So this one is from Blair. She says really good schools, which I do have to say, I do think our schools get great reviews. We actually have a new video coming out all about our schools.
All about our schools in depth, so watch it.
With ratings. Pikes Peak, what's that?
Garden of the Gods.
Oh, where we're at.
Right here.
Garden of the Gods. Yeah, you can't beat what's behind us. I never heard of it like that before. I don't get all the abbreviations.
Usually it's just GOG.
But Garden of the Gods, yeah. Half the time my kids send me things and I'm like, I don't know what that means.
Only an hour to Denver, she puts, which is a great perk.
It is nice because you can take advantage of a huge city but not live in a huge city within an hour. 45 to Pueblo.
I mean, I get that for the lake. We go to Pueblo a lot for that. And my mom goes down there. There's a lot of fresh produce down south.
Yep. 90 minutes to Boulder. Airport, close to a lot of great things. Weather, awesome hiking, cool people. Restaurants, everything is pretty much 15 minutes or less.
So that is quite the list. So I also read, and I won't go on forever, but I was reading through a United Way report, and it had to do with not only lifestyle, but it computed happiness.
Oh.
And the happiness of the people that live in an area. And I was super interested. You said restaurants in there. 87% of people that live in Colorado Springs were well satisfied with our restaurant selection.
I think it's gotten a lot better.
I thought that was amazing.
When I first moved here 20 years ago, it was kind of like a bunch of, maybe a couple restaurants downtown were
steakhouses,
a little more unique, and then a bunch of like chain restaurants. I feel like we've gotten a lot better with that. And two other things I want to cover on her point real quick before we move on. I can see you looking at Carl. But we do have an airport here. It's smaller. We're getting more and more flights to come in here. It is a little more expensive. And there are a few direct flights.
But man, it's easy to fly in and out of here.
It's great.
Super simple.
I think it's kind of funny when you fly there or you drive there and then you fly to Denver. I know.
That is a little frustrating sometimes.
And then I do think, maybe not 15 minutes, but it does feel like that, especially if you're coming from a larger city, somewhere in Texas, like Dallas, Houston, out east, those bigger cities, LA, Orange County. It is pretty easy to get around this town. We'll talk
absolutely.
About traffic, but some people complain about traffic, but I think...
on that same report, the traffic was acknowledged, but they were comparing it to also bigger cities like Houston, LA, Denver, and Colorado Springs was very low on the traffic scale in that United Way report. So
okay, moving on.
Okay, my phone keeps locking me out. Sorry.
You and Carl.
All right.
Mellow, we did that one. Carl.
So Carrie.
Oh,
not Carl. Carrie says.
I need glasses.
Oh, I did skip one. Oh, nope. All right. So Carrie said it has become more crowded and expensive over the last 10 years, but it is still a great place to live. Why move here? Well, beautiful views, awesome people, a generally nice climate, and a lot to do if you like the outdoors. So one thing I want to expand on real quick here, the people. We have heard over and over and over again that Colorado Springs is very friendly. So I would agree with you, Carrie.
And I will say overcrowded. We have grown a lot. You can see Colorado Springs ranks in top places to live. So we have grown a lot in the last few years. So it's a matter of how much our city can keep up with it. But along with that does come negatives. If you look at this actually on our Facebook group and read through, what people are saying, you'll have a lot of naysayers as well, which happens with social media, of why not to move here. And people don't like it living here and all that kind of thing. So take all those with a grain of salt. People always say the negatives, I think, on social media, but we're really highlighting here why to move here and why people do love it.
They're very strong behind a computer screen.
People are strong behind a computer screen for sure. So it has grown a lot in the population for sure.
Okay, so on to the next.
Scott.
So Scott says summers
90 during the day, mid 60s at night, and no bugs. So I do have to say, sorry. That's okay.
Oh, you're fine.
Oh, there's our friend.
How cute.
Happy New Year.
Hi.
So summer's during 90s during the day, which is true. Very rare.
What a cute little
sometimes in the 90s. However, it's not humid. It's
not at all.
But that sun is powerful. Unless you've been out here, it's a different type of 90 than like I think you're used to. Mid 60s at night, so I love that because then you can be hot during the day, and then you can put that sweatshirt on at night and sit outside. It's gorgeous.
Yep.
And the thing that I love about that is no bugs, because being from Minnesota,
bugs are a big deal.
Whenever that sun went down, here, I'll have your phone. Whenever that sun went down, it equated to bugs coming out. And here, it's like, it's finally cooling off. That sun is setting, and there's no bugs, which is great.
Absolutely. And we really don't, in general, I think because we do get freezing temperature, it kind of kills off a lot of bugs. Like we really don't get a lot of bugs at all.
Mosquitoes.
Not mosquitoes, but even I would say the worst
Flies?
that we have are ants, but they're like maybe itty bitty ants. It's not like in North Carolina when they pile up on the bottom of the tree.
Yeah.
We really don't get many bugs.
All
so
right.
on to the next
for you that we're going to highlight, and then I'll put the link below. You can join if you'd like, and you can kind of read everyone's banter and even ask questions. I think it's a great resource when you're moving here as well. So who do we got next?
So Myrta is next. I have lived in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Florida, California, and Minnesota.
Give props to Minnesota.
And personally, Colorado is the best of all. Sunny, lots of outdoor activities, beautiful landscapes. I can go on and on. I live in Colorado Springs, and the view of the mountains is beautiful, and I'm lucky to enjoy it every day. Regardless of people moving here, I am all for it. It's great to live in a cosmopolitan place. The homeless situation, it is a problem, but also it is in other states. So I guess you maybe picked this one because we do want to acknowledge that there is, we are a city. And so there is homeless, there is crime, but on a scale, and you can do your research with this, it really, as far as violent crimes go, we rank very low. But there is still crime in the city.
That's why it's important to know your neighborhoods and like each pocket. Like even when I was doing the school report, which I talked about, there are schools within a district. Some schools would have a 10, some schools would have a 2. And that's just kind of knowing the areas within each region of a bigger city like Colorado Springs. Yep. We're not as big as Denver, but we definitely have different areas in town that people like for their lifestyle. And I will say on that one, the outdoors, I know it comes up in everyone's thing, but yes. I do love the feeling. There's nothing like even coming out here and seeing this backdrop, be able to hike this.
It is
and
so beautiful.
Bike this. But not only this, but like we're buying a investment property up in Granby, and there's nothing like seeing the mountains and that outdoor fresh air and not having people stand over you and look over you.
It's
and
true.
Just kind of being in those mountains. There's just nothing.
There's
like
something grounding and peaceful about that.
Yep. All right, my turn.
Yep.
All right. So Patsy says odd weather changes, which is very true.
Very, very, very
High
true.
winds, also very true. Blinding sunshine, tons of traffic, constant road construction, and too many people.
So I thought this was pros.
Yeah, well,
I guess she's pointing out some of those things that we do struggle with, or if you talk to locals that do come up. I will say I believe our roads in Colorado Springs specifically, are very poor.
I do think they are poor.
We really struggle with, and it's most likely because of our expansive soils. All of our weather that's, hot and cold, that creates expansive soils, but we have constant road construction. They're always trying to keep up with that, but it's a constant job. And especially if you go into maybe a little bit older neighborhoods, it's like maybe they've patched some of the areas, they've done some curb and gutter work and whatnot, but it is very bumpy to drive on, even our highways. And like if you're going down I-70 and then you hit Kansas, it's like all of a sudden it's like all the way to,
and we do have a lot of weather changes. So like I said, 60 one day and vortex coming the next day. Sunny, snow, wind is more windy than I've ever seen.
Now with that being said, our weather literally changes by the hour. Sometimes it doesn't last for an entire morning or even an entire afternoon. Once in a while, it'll stick around a whole day, but it could be cloudy in the morning, sunny by noon, and windy by the afternoon.
But overwhelming response on our Facebook group page was more sun here than anywhere they've ever lived, and that's true. So,
yep.
Here, you're next. Let me see if it's working. Someone had to throw their trash away, and I had to check the camera because our camera's on a trash can. That's how fancy we are. All right.
So on to the next. Jalen, if you can afford it, the summers are perfection to me, and you can hike within a few miles in any direction. Very, very true. So our city has a very high walkability rate. But there are parks, trail systems throughout the entire city. That is one thing I personally love about it, is that I don't care if I'm picking up my schools kind of in the northeast part of Colorado Springs, if I'm over here on the west side, if I have 20 minutes to spare, there is always trails and outdoors nearby that you can do a small loop, or you can make a 4-mile walk for an hour and a half out of it. So it kind of depends on how much time you have, what the weather's like, but our entire city has parks and trails scattered throughout it and is very walkable and outdoor friendly.
And I think it's interesting she said if I can afford it. I think as I read through some of those answers, it is all very relative. Some people are like, it's so expensive. Some people think it's cheap. Some people think it's the same as any other major city. And so take that from where you're coming from and your perspective, and maybe look at the cost of living from where you live compared to maybe Colorado Springs in and of itself. Has housing prices gone up? Yes. Has our eggs gone up? Just like any other parts of the country.
Has our eggs gone
but
up?
I mean, honestly, it's all relative, I would say. Our property taxes are low. So when you talk about homes in Texas, they'll say, well, all of our money's going to property taxes. here our homes definitely are higher, but you're talking about maybe 2,000 to 3,000 on an average max home for property taxes, depending upon where you live.
Yes, I will say if you go to a newer section, taxes are a little bit higher, but there is some very affordable pockets throughout all of Colorado Springs.
And I will say one other thing on her point quick, summers are perfection. So right now we're in January. If you watch any other videos, I call this winter 2. It's my least favorite time of the year. Still gorgeous, as you can see. But summers here are why I love fall too.
It is amazing.
The summers are gorgeous. You wake up and it's 65 and sunny, no humidity. You walk outside, the nights they cool off, and we don't get super hot. I mean, we get hot enough you can wear shorts, go swimming, but not that like sweating mustache sweat.
Well, and I even love the springtime. We actually do get some blooms. It's not like some places, but a lot of places in Colorado or really any colder climate, you kind of skip through that spring area. Just on the Front Range here, we actually do get a spring. So truly 4-season living.
So I'm reading the next one from Andy. I lost track. Do we have one more after this? I know.
We went past our limit that you said, but that's all right.
All right. So this one I think I live over off of Woodman, so I think it's
very
true.
This one.
So driving west on Woodman gives me goosebumps every time. I grew up here in the surrounding area, moved away, missed it, came back 30 years later, so happy I did. And we hear this a lot.
All the time.
And I do remember, I'm going to date myself, back when I was 22 years old, I moved out here for graduate school at the University of Colorado. And I remember going over, it's actually Austin Bluffs near UCCS, but it's the same view kind of that she's talking about in Woodman. I remember asking my friend who had been here for a year, I'm like, does this view ever get old? Do you just ever take it for granted? And he was like, no. And I, sometimes you do. I think you take not like this view, but like when you're driving around the city and you see a mountain or two, you're like, oh, the mountains, or you go to Costco. But anytime you go over those couple roads, that Woodman, and I see it, I'm like, you don't get this many places.
No, I would say even heading north on Powers and, dropping kids off at school some days, because we do that drive almost every day, and you just look to the west, and sometimes the peak will have snow on it. Sometimes the sun will be shining right on it. Sometimes you'll have this like fog sitting there, and no matter what, that backdrop and that landscape makes you so thankful to live here, really day in and day out.
So of course there's negatives. Like I said, go check out that group text thread. You'll see them, of course. So we've done videos on that, but I want to talk about, if you're going to tell people why to move here in 2024, really why our clients do move here. And it's all those factors. And some outweigh the other ones depending upon who that client is. But if you are thinking of moving here in 2024 and you have any questions for us, reach out. We each have 3 kids in the schools. We've actually moved here for ourselves. We have different perspectives on what that looks like, and we have the perspective of hundreds of our clients that have moved here from all over the country and world, and that we love to help make that move.
Yes, so if you're thinking of making that move, Lori and I would love the opportunity to help you. Put those numbers in your phone, reach out to us, and we would love to make Colorado Springs your home.
So we're out from Colorado Springs until next time.